Hey guys, my name is Camilla and welcome back to the Dye Free Baker. On today's video, I'm talking about something that I could talk about for a very long time, and it's something I get asked a lot. And that is, when you are using natural plant-based food color, should you opt for powder-based colors or should you opt for gels? In today's video, I'm going to break down the pros and the cons to using both of those and help you decide which one is best for you. So let's get straight in. Let's start with the powder colors. So the pros to using powder colors is that it takes a lot less product to create a lot more vibrancy in your icing or buttercream or whatever you're using your powders for. That brings me on to the fact that you can use it in just about anything. So there's a lot of versatility in the powders. You can use it for royal icing, for buttercream, for fondant, for macarons, for chocolate, for airbrushing, for painting, and the list goes on. So powder-based food colors not only have the highest vibrancy, but also the most versatility. Powder-based food colors also last significantly longer than liquid or gel-based food colors. That's because they're in powder form. So long as you keep them away from heat and humidity, they could last years. The biggest con to using powder-based food colors is the very fact that they take a lot longer to develop. So you get a lot of vibrancy, but the payoff is the fact that you need to wait usually overnight for those colors to develop. Sometimes along the way while developing, speckles will form in your icing. That may be seen as another con, but if you remix your icing or you hydrate your powders before using them with a little bit of distilled water, like I've shown you in other videos, those speckles will not be an issue. Let's move on to liquid-based food colors. So the benefit of using liquid or gel-based food colors is that it is less of a learning curve. Most people are coming from using gel-based colors and move straight on to using more gel-based colors. So it is very easy to use. The negatives of using gel-based food color is the fact that you need to use a lot more product in order to get those same deep and vibrant shades. So they are easier to use, they don't take as long to develop, not nearly as long, probably 20 to 30 minutes, and you're at the threshold for how deep or vibrant the color is going to be. But you're going to need to use a lot more product. Liquids are also prone to oxidization, and so they don't last nearly as long as the powders. If you are using a lot of color though, if you have a home bakery or even a brick and mortar store, that is less of an issue because you're going to be using those bottles up long before they get the chance to go bad. Because gels are not oil-based, they tend to seize when adding them to something like chocolate, and so you just don't have the variety there in what you can use your liquid-based or gel-based colors for. If you opt for a baking color or something that is heat stable, those are usually in liquid form. So that is one benefit, that there are options of liquid-based colors that you can use to bake, and they are heat resistant. It's really difficult to compare them based off of price because you get some liquid based colors that are super cheap. They don't work very well, but they are super cheap and they'll work in a pinch or for something that you're just making at home, maybe for your kids, using it for sensory type of stuff, but they're definitely not heat stable. When you're looking at brands that are higher quality in your liquid or gel-based colors, they are significantly more expensive than the powders even. So that one's kind of a hit or miss. There's not really one that you can compare to the other in terms of price. Unfortunately, you get some cheaper powder brands, some more expensive ones, and you get very cheap liquid brands and more expensive ones. At the end of the day, really what you pay for is what you get, And so try not to use cost as the only motivating factor for which brand you decide to choose. Definitely the application and the amount of time that you have to work with are the two biggest factors for selecting powder versus liquid. What I like to do and what I recommend if your budget allows is to have both powder and gel-based colors on hand. This helps you in two ways. When you have more time to allow the color to develop, opt for your powder-based colors. When you have less time, you just need a mix and get decorating, then opt for the liquid-based colors. Sometimes if you have more time on your hands and you've chosen the powder-based colors, but then the color doesn't develop as expected and you need to be quicker in tweaking that color, the liquid or gel-based colors are very handy to have on board because you can mix and match using the liquid, adding it into that icing and getting it to the color you need much quicker than adding more powder and waiting for that full development time again. So the benefit of having both of them available to you is the best course of action if budget allows. If it doesn't, I would recommend powders and just try and plan ahead when it comes to mixing your colors ahead of time. That's it for today's video. If you like what you see and you want to learn more about dye-free decorating and baking, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button, you hit that bell button so that you get notified every time a new video comes out. And let me know in the caption, which one do you prefer? Powder-based natural colors or liquid gel-based natural colors? And if you haven't decided, ask me a question and I'll help you figure out which one is best for you.